I mean, this is gonna sound harsh lah, but if we were to pass away,
I'm not getting that money.
I mean, yeah.
So like so far nobody is depending on me yet, and I feel like nobody is going to depend on me for quite a long time.
So we need to reduce the burden of the healthcare system lah. So if we have the means to, we can pay for insurance, we go to a private hospital. More important than medical insurance because again we have KKM, right? Not to abuse
Thank
it.
you.
Not to abuse it, but it's there for a reason lah. Hi, my name is Emir and I'm talking all things money. Today my guest is Aisha.
I'm Aisha, 28.
Okay, Aisha, what do you want to talk about today?
I'm paying for insurance every month
Okay.
since the day I started working. So am I being scammed?
Since the day you started working, that's
Yeah, that was 5 years
super
ago.
responsible. When I first started working, I was like, I'm going to spend my money however I want first. Insurance was a lot to pay.
That was the first thing I thought about. Okay,
Really?
what
You're so
insurance
responsible.
do I want to
Really? Your first paycheck, you wanted to buy insurance.
Paycheck, that is the first thing I paid
That was
for.
not
Yeah,
me.
my insurance.
That was not me. After 2 promotions, and I'm like, okay lah, I can afford insurance a bit now. But okay, super responsible. Okay, so what insurance do you have? Do you know?
That's the funny thing. The
Okay.
first day that I paid for my insurance, I know, but it's been 5 years, right?
Okay.
I forgot what I'm paying for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to assume that this is medical insurance. I
Medical,
think usually that's what people go for, and then they mix it in with a bit of life insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know how these two things work, first of all? Okay. Let me just explain real quick. Okay. So medical insurance is for, let's say something happens to you lah. Whether you get into a car accident, you get diagnosed with cancer, whatever it is, you get admitted to the hospital, they will cover your hospital bills. So that's medical insurance, right? And then life insurance is also usually added into people's medical insurance. That is, if you were to pass away, there will be a sum of money passed on to your next of kin, whoever is your beneficiary lah.
Yep.
Right? So those are typically how those two things work. I'm going to assume that you have a bit of both lah.
I think I do have
Okay.
that. Yeah, the life insurance as well.
Okay. So why do you think you're being scammed?
Okay, so it's been 5 years. So I've been paying every month 200 ringgit.
Okay.
I started with 200 ringgit.
Okay.
And then mid of 2024, my premium increased to 224.
224.
A month.
10%.
Yeah.
About 10%, yeah.
Yeah, but on top of that, I don't only have that insurance.
Okay.
So I have another one that covers everything that is like woman related.
Okay.
You know, if you get robbed, if you get pregnant, if you have cervical cancer, anything
Okay.
that is woman, breast cancer. So that's another kind of insurance that I've been paying every
Okay.
month for the past 3 years.
Yep.
That is 24. I started with 24 ringgit a month. And then the same thing happened with my insurance, my first insurance. Last year, it increased to like 58 ringgit.
Okay.
So now I am paying around almost 300.
Almost 300 ringgit lah. Yeah, right?
300 ringgit.
224, 58. Yeah. about
300
280 nearly.
ringgit
Okay. A month.
a month for the past 7 months, I feel like. Yeah, and I've never had to claim my insurance because I've been to the hospital before. I've gotten sick before.
Okay.
But for some reason, we have the My Sejahtera app, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we can make appointments
Okay.
to government clinic.
Okay, yeah.
We can make appointments. We can get referred from the government clinics to a government hospital. So I've used Hospital Ampang. I've used HKL services. They're great actually. And
Yep.
I live in KL. Getting public clinics is quite easy. Getting a
For you. Okay.
for me, yeah,
Yeah,
because I
that's
live
good.
in KL, in
Okay.
the middle of the city. So I've been paying for my medical expenses. Like the most expensive that I've paid is 15 ringgit.
That's the most.
The most.
I think that's
I've
one of the
paid-
best things about being in Malaysia, right?
Yes,
Public healthcare.
the public healthcare.
Yep.
So now I'm thinking about, should I continue with my
Nearly 300 ringgit a month insurance when you haven't been using it at all, right?
and I've
Yeah.
been relying a lot on the government.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have this similar kind of view, especially when they don't claim insurance, right? And then when you hear stories about people who say, I got into a car accident really bad, thank God I had insurance, right? So it really depends on your personal scenario. To me, the way I see insurance is, I've never claimed my insurance as well. I've been paying for, I think, 3-4 years. And I also recently got an increase, so I feel your pain, 20% for me. But then I think, would I rather have been forced to claim insurance and been put into hospital? Obviously not, so I consider myself lucky that I don't have to.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But, okay, so a lot of people feel this way. I think recently a lot of people got their insurance premiums going up And then especially if they're like you, they've never claimed it before, they feel like this is such a scam, the insurance company is just taking my money. I could have just used this money to go on holiday, right? 200 ringgit a month, 1 year, 2004. That's Bali every year.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
That's Bali every year, right? Public healthcare is okay, right? Okay, but on a more serious note, I think so this is how I see insurance. Let's just take it one by one. So
Okay.
life insurance. Life insurance is paid out if you were to pass away. So it'll be paid out to whoever is your next of kin, whether it's your mom, or if you're married, maybe your husband or your kids. Okay. So I think a lot of people, they get tricked a bit by whether it's insurance agents or ads and stuff, and they don't understand it maybe. But to me, life insurance is not so important if people are not dependent on you or your income, right? So if you are, let's say, a child and you have no kids, you have no parents who are aging and need the income from you, then life insurance is not super important because, I mean, this is gonna sound harsh lah, but if we were to pass away,
I'm not getting that money.
I mean, yeah, and people don't rely on us, right? People don't need our income.
Okay.
Okay, compared to someone who is, let's say one day I get married, I have kids and stuff, I'm the sole breadwinner of my family. My wife, my kids, they all rely on me for an income. If I were to pass away, suddenly they don't have any more cash, right? So that is a real issue that needs to be solved, and that is what life insurance is for.
Okay.
Okay, so that is to me the important part, because life insurance can be very expensive. Some people are buying 100,000, 300,000 ringgit worth of life insurance. No one's depending on them. To me, that is a bit kind of a waste lah, kind of a waste of money. I would rather take that money, save it. If I die, this savings can go to whoever. Can go to my mom, can go to my wife, doesn't matter.
So like so far nobody is depending on me yet, and I feel like nobody is going to depend on me for quite a long time because my
Okay.
mom is still working, my father
Okay.
is working.
Ideal.
Yeah,
Very
and I'm not married.
Okay.
Yeah.
No kids, right?
No.
Okay, hopefully. Okay. Yeah, so I think in your scenario, I think a lot of people in this scenario, if you're like early 20s, even late 20s like myself, I'm in the same situation as you. So I allocate very little towards life insurance. I don't know if you're forced to do it.
I
but if you-
didn't know that you can actually allocate a certain amount.
Yeah. So you can, so if you tell your agent like this is how much I want to spend,
I'm
they will
sorry.
give you something. They will give you something like 1 million to medical, and then 30K life insurance. And you can tell them, you know what, I don't want 30K life insurance. Reduce that to 10,000, and I want to increase my annual medical limit. It works like that. Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't ask their insurance agent.
I did not.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
I
a very-
rely on them to,
Yeah.
kind of give me whatever fits me.
Yeah.
That
Don't trust anyone in finance. Don't even trust me. Yeah. Go buy an
Sorry. Is this the right place?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know. But basically, yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine. In a nutshell, if you don't have anyone dependent on your income, don't spend so much on life insurance. I don't know if you're forced to have it as part of like a bundle, but even if you're forced to, just minimal lah. I think not so important. But like I said, if things change, one day you have a family and stuff, then you should consider it lah, for sure. Consider getting more life insurance stuff for
Okay.
your kids.
Okay.
Right? So that's life.
Life.
Out of the way. Medical. Okay, medical, my opinion. Okay.
His opinion.
Yeah. So medical insurance, like you said, public healthcare in Malaysia is super cheap. It's very heavily subsidized by the government, right? So that's a really good thing. So my opinion is, if you are someone who is on a lower income, right, or if you're someone who is struggling with cash flow because you have a lot of other commitments, I would not get medical insurance even. Because I can only say this because public healthcare in Malaysia is cheap. Right? So that's my view. But if you're someone on the higher income side, if let's say you have extra cash flow every single month, then I would consider medical insurance for two reasons. One is we have to play our part as Malaysians lah, right? I mean, the government is subsidizing the hospitals, but
Correct.
who's paying for that money? It's our tax money at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So we need to reduce the burden of the healthcare system lah. I think you know as well, doctors in Malaysia, they're overworked and stuff, right? So if we have the means to, we can pay for insurance, we go to a private hospital, right? Let the less fortunate go to public healthcare. Right, that's one reason. The second reason, for me at least, and why I buy medical insurance now, is I just want to be a bit more comfortable lah, just to make sure that, it's not that public healthcare is bad. It's not that our public hospitals are bad. Actually, I've never been. How's it? Okay?
I've never been.
Like, checked in lah.
Yeah, I've never
Okay.
been like to the emergency.
Okay.
It's always the clinic, so they're pretty new.
Okay.
clinics.
Okay, yeah.
So they're pretty nice.
Okay.
I don't know if suddenly you need to go to emergency, maybe
Not so
comfortable.
Yeah. You definitely have to share rooms lah. You're not getting a private room in public, right? That's for sure.
Obviously.
Yeah. So for me, I am willing to pay a bit more for the comfort. Right, so this is obviously up to individual. So I am willing to pay for medical insurance just so that I could go to any private hospital if I needed to. Maybe you get a bit nicer rooms, you can get your own room and stuff like that. So that's purely the reason why I would get medical insurance lah. Right? So that is my view in a nutshell. If you're not earning a lot, again, not necessary, I would rather, if you were to spend, let's say you're on a lower income, right, and you want to spend 200 ringgit a month on insurance, I would rather take that 200 ringgit, save it in a separate bank account, and call this your sinking fund. Okay. So sinking fund is something that you save for a particular reason. So this can be your medical sinking fund. Okay, so instead of paying 200 ringgit to the insurance company, I'm taking this 200 ringgit every month still, I'm putting it into my medical sinking fund, and I save this money every single month. Right? If anything were to happen to me, I don't have enough to pay for it, I go to public healthcare lah. Right? But if, let's say, I've saved up a nice amount of money, 10,000 ringgit after a few years, right? If you want to go to medical, you can just take that lah. Right? So that is what I would rather do lah. If you're someone who's not earning that much, you're a bit tight. I wouldn't say that insurance in Malaysia is a necessity, we must have it. Aside from, again, people who are high income, sole breadwinner, life insurance they want to meet, you have to have it lah. Otherwise, if you were to pass, your family is like, totally out of income. That's not a good thing lah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I think about it. Yeah.
Okay, so if I have my sister right now, she's starting her job.
Okay.
She wanted to take medical insurance right now.
Okay.
What do I tell her? Like how for someone who is starting, right?
Okay. She's just starting her job. Well, you guys are like raised in a family of either you're super financially responsible or you guys watch a lot of like insurance ads when you were young.
We just want our gaji to go where it's supposed to go. Like, if we have money, we have enough extra cash to, buy a car so that we can easily commute to work.
Then you would do that.
We will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to make, things easy.
Okay. I would say, for someone who is just starting out, there are a lot of things that you can still save for. Again, if she's earning like 10,000 ringgit off the bat per month, then by all means buy insurance if she wants to, right? But if let's say she's more of a typical Malaysian who's starting out with maybe 3,000, 3,500 a month, right? Let's say, I wouldn't rush into getting insurance. You can wait a year just to see, your cash flow, is everything okay and stuff like that. Because there's one thing that I would say is more important for most people than medical insurance is to have an emergency fund. Have you heard of that?
Yes, but I've never done it for myself.
Okay. So what do you know about emergency funds then?
So I don't really focus on saving for emergency.
Okay.
Like, if I have money, I just save 50 this month, 100.
Okay. And you put it, where do you save it?
In a different saving account bank because I have a few.
Okay.
That separates my money. So I have my salary in one bank and then I separate for my car and then for so I don't kacau.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say emergency fund is like on its own. And generally speaking, people say that you should save between 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. I think that is like the first thing that people should try and achieve when they are a fresh grad.
3 to 6 months of my expenses.
Yeah. So if you spend 3,000 a month, 9 to 18,000. 9 to 18,000, yeah. That's like the first goal. Because having this emergency fund, imagine if you have this, right? You know that whatever happens, you'll be fine. If you got laid off, I have at least 6 months worth of my expenses to get back on my feet and stuff, right? So this is to me the most important part. More important than medical insurance because again, we have KKM, right? Not to abuse it. Not to abuse it, but it's there for a reason lah. It's there for a reason. So no rush for your sister, right?
Okay.
Start our work, save money, enjoy yourself a bit. I think it's fine. I think in finance we have to enjoy ourselves as well. After 1 year, if she feels like, you know what, I'm earning a lot of money, I can buy insurance as well, then go for it lah. No rush.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for someone like me, right? If I feel like I want to downgrade my premium or if I want to stop completely, what's your advice then?
Okay, so
what do you think? What's your opinion on that?
So there is a way to reduce your premium. Yeah, so I have...
You know that?
Yeah. So,
I thought when they increase it, then I have to just follow.
Okay, no. So funny story. So my insurance just got increased as well. My premium just got increased, right?
Yeah.
But like 20%. I won't say which company. I posted it on social media. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. They increased my premium. And then suddenly I got a call and they were like, hello, this is the customer service and we saw your tweet. And they were like, let me just explain to you why this is the case, right? And then he just explained it to me for like 10 minutes. And then he was like, but we're also going to offer you an option to reduce your premiums back to where they were. But obviously, it's not for free lah. It's not because my tweet went viral, they're going to reduce my premium for nothing. So we can reduce premiums by reducing our coverage a bit. So one is, for example, like I said, life insurance, right? If yours right now is 100K, you can tell them, you know what, I don't need it. Bring it down to 10K and reduce my premiums. They can do that for you. Another way is your medical annual limit. Do you know yours? Not sure as well. Okay. I think a lot of people tend to not know, which is a bit... Yeah, I think you should know lah. But let's say it's 1.5 million a year. Let's say you think, I don't need 1.5 million a year. I'm not going to, some 5-star hospital. For me, 500,000 a year is enough. So you can reduce some of these things they call riders that will bring down your premiums as well. Okay, but if you are really tight on money, then terminating is also an option lah. Yeah, for people who, let's say, they are in debt right now, they cannot keep up with bills, I would say take out the insurance lah.
Yeah, then I'll burn the rest for the last 5 years.
I mean, that's just how insurance works.
What?
It's like okay, think about it this way. If for 5 years you in your scenario you didn't claim, you feel like, oh, I burned it, right? But what if you were born in a different reality where you paid for 2 years and then you claimed 200K? You wouldn't be complaining about this right now. You would be like, thank God I bought insurance, right? And a lot of people are like that. So I think it's a bit unfair. And again, obviously, the ideal scenario is for the rest of my life, I never have to go to hospital. I would pay like 500 ringgit a month for that. Like, wouldn't you, right? For sure, I would rather not go to hospital. So I wouldn't see it as like, I already burned 5 years worth, I never claim anything. Now the insurance company made all the money. I think if you're tight on money, it's okay lah. Just let it go. Move on with life.
So for me, the solution is to check what is my coverage.
Yeah, I think that's the first thing that you should know.
And then decide whether I want to
continue, you want to reduce, you want to terminate, that one's up to you lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So don't spend too much. I think just to summarize this whole thing, right? Life insurance really depends on whether you have any dependents that rely on your income or not. Medical insurance, if you can afford it, go for it. If you can't afford it, just save that money lah. And
AKM is the way to go.
AKM is the way to go. Malaysian healthcare, Malaysian doctors, superb. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emir.
No problem, Aisha. Thank you guys for watching Money Goal.